Before I start this video, I want to say, if you don't like people comparing certain cars to other cars, click away from this video. I'm going to be comparing this car to cars in higher categories. I understand they are not the same category. You don't have to tell me in the comments. If you don't like people comparing certain cars to other cars, this channel's not for you. And if you're getting mad at people on the internet for reviewing cars, then the internet might not be for you. My microphone was also a little bit messed up for some of the video. Sorry about that. I tried to fix it a little bit in post. So this is the ID.4, and it has been 2,410 miles on this car. I've not driven most of those miles. This is not my daily car. I've driven this car a good bit, and I want to go over my experience and just generally what I think of this car after driving it for, I'd say, a good enough time to make like an actual review on it. I want to start this with the charging experience. This has actually been my biggest complaint about this car. So it turns green, right? It says that it's charging, right? It says it's charging at a normal speed. So now that I've closed the door, it's not charging anymore. So I'm going to open the door back up, and it starts charging again. It doesn't tell me that it stopped charging, and I don't know if this is a software issue. I haven't really heard people complain about this, but it's definitely an issue. Locking the car is a process on its own, by the way. So here it is. Here's the lock button. Just going to hold this. Sometimes it'll lock, sometimes it doesn't. This is the same technology that's used on my Q5, and my Q5 locks perfectly almost every single time. So I don't know why this is so unreliable at locking the car. But unless I lock the car, it won't charge. That's fine for me because I always lock the car. But not everyone does, you know? If I have the key and I go into the garage to, I don't know, get something from this fridge, and I go close to the car will proximity unlock. The Q5 doesn't unlock unless I grab the door handle, which is how this should be. So I think there's a setting to turn that off, but then I'd have to go with the key and press unlock every time I wanted to unlock the car. There's not just something where I can pull the handle and it'll unlock. But if I walk past the car, it will unlock. Another thing, it doesn't play a tone whenever I lock it unless I lock it twice, which is really annoying, and then the tone that it plays is a horn sound, unlike the Q5 where it's just a chirp. And yes, I know that most cars do a horn sound instead of a chirp, but Volkswagen Group owns Audi, so why can't they just take the chirp from the Q5 and use that same chirp in the ID.4? Like, yes, the Q5 is a more expensive car, but I don't really know how much of a price difference it would cost to just go and replace that horn with a chirp, because the horn, that'll piss off your neighbors. The chirp, nobody cares, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing cleaned up for this next part because I haven't cleaned this in a while. You know, as I said, this isn't my car. I'm just going to clean this up, and then we'll get back onto the video. Alright, that's better. So the next thing I'm going to go over is the interior. There's so much glossy plastic. I haven't cleaned this yet. I hate glossy plastic. In my Q5, I got the glossy plastic actually wrapped over in Stealth because I was just so tired of it. You know, and it's hard to clean. You know, I got this kind of quickly a couple minutes ago. This glossy plastic, hard to keep clean, scratches up super easily. There's even some scratches around here just from general usage. And then look at this. It just looks nasty. I mean, it's hard to keep this clean. You know, it attracts dust, it attracts every, you know, nasty thing. It's just, I don't know why glossy plastic has to exist. I'm not going to complain about the climate controls. I don't really hate it. I don't love it. I like how my Q5 does it. I think that a knob would kind of feel out of place in this car. It is just a little bit annoying. The volume, not that annoying. People don't really know how to use the volume slider though, so it makes it a little bit weird with passengers. But yeah, I wouldn't say the climate controls being all digital is a big problem. Now, what I would say is a problem is the infotainment system. It's laggy, and for whatever reason, it is violent with how it wants to connect to CarPlay. Like, it will not let me just not connect to CarPlay. I don't want to be on CarPlay if I'm a passenger. I have to either turn Bluetooth off on my phone, so I won't be able to use like my AirPods, or I will have to forget the car in my Bluetooth settings. If I have it connected to the car's Bluetooth, not even CarPlay, it will keep on pausing my music, so that's just one of my biggest annoyances. The infotainment system is just awful. Hey ID, I'm cold.
This function is currently not available.
So the voice control system works okay, but one time I had my friend in here, he was the passenger, and he said, "Hey ID, I'm cold," and it just started spouting out random nonsense. I think it said something like, "okay," instead of, adjusting the climate control. So I kind of stopped using that feature. It wasn't really that useful. I mean, it's not really that hard to just go over and just slide that, but whatever. I guess that some people just don't like physical buttons. I don't know. I don't really understand the whole obsession over voice assistants. This steering wheel controls, these are good. I like these. I wish the cruise control system was like on a knob down here, like Q5 in the Porsche Macan, in basically every Porsche. I don't know why it's on the steering wheel. They could have used this area for something else. And then this, I like how I can actually slide this for volume control, and I don't just like, up one, up two, whatever. Then the view button, this is confusing because that entire display is confusing. I'm not even going to get into that in this video though. Even more glossy plastic. For what reason? But the interior quality, I'd say, is actually good. This is the first time I've, really been able to experience an actual Volkswagen, and this is good. I like the fake leather. This feels nice. The seats are actually pretty good in this car. I like them a lot. The wheel, it feels nice. This is a pretty nice material. I don't hate the rear window button. That's not really something that I think about a lot because I don't roll the rear windows down. This is a little bit confusing, but whatever. The lock button being here, kind of hard to press. Maybe it's not working because I don't have the car on, but still. I feel like the sensitivity of the touch buttons could definitely be a lot lower because it's pretty hard to touch these, and there's no feedback whenever I touch these. So I've only been in the back seat of this car once. Rob here,
hello,
has been in it quite a few times. So what would you rate the back seats of this car? What would your review be on them?
I definitely feel like this is the kind of car you can have a nice long drive in, because I've been in the Tesla for a while. The seats aren't very ergonomic in the Tesla, but this is really ergonomic, and I like this a lot just because it's super laid back and there's just so much space that you can just relax.
And this is fake leather too.
Yeah, which I didn't know, but now I do. But this is really nice. This is so much. This is better quality than
it's
the
softer.
Tesla. Exactly, and it's not rogue.
In general, what do you think about the other features of the interior? Like the USB-C and all.
Well, I guess this does have USB-C, which is also nice because nowadays we're all using USB-C instead of USB-A, like the Q5 over there, which is kind of
I mean, I guess the Q5, the one thing I will give it credit there, it was designed, that generation was designed mainly in 2018 versus this, which was 2020. But I will say, the Q5 has USB-C in the front, not the back though, the front in the center console, but still. What about the cup holders in here? Because that's apparently a big thing for some people.
They're actually really nice, but one thing, I guess this is kind of a thing here, but you can kind of push it and you can feel them.
It goes through a little bit, which I feel like is either a design oversight or some sort of engineering decision they might have made.
Yeah, maybe for when you hit boulders or something. Not boulders, but pebbles, something hard.
Bumps in the road.
Exactly. And
you have the pass-through, which is pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah, it's better than pulling the whole seat back, right?
Yeah, which the seats do fold back. I'm pretty sure, at least, by the way. I've fit TVs and stuff in here.
Oh wow, that's pretty
small
cool.
TVs, but still TVs. But yeah, I'd say that's pretty much it for the back seats. You have glossy plastic for no reason, but
I wouldn't go with glossy plastic personally.
I hate glossy plastic. You saw what I did to the glossy plastic in my car?
Yeah, you took it off.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, what do you rate this in terms of back seats of the cars that you've been in?
10 out of 10, actually.
Wait, so you'd say this is one of the better back seats? Out of every car you've driven, which one has the best back seats?
Probably this one. I'll be honest here because This is the kind of car, like I said in the beginning, this is the kind of car you can just sit down and relax.
It's like a road trip car almost.
Exactly. It's like perfect.
When I started driving this lot, I said, this is the car that we're going to take on the longer trips.
Exactly.
Don't care if it's, electric. This is just so much more comfortable whenever you're driving, more than like 3 hours.
Right.
But yeah, so subscribe to him, AJ Tech. I'll leave his channel link in the description.
AV
Yeah. And just one last small complaint, and then I'm done. Why are the cup holders like this? So, I don't know who thought this out, but honestly, wouldn't it make more sense to have the cup holders closer to where people's hands are, and then the storage tray behind the cup holders? Because if I'm driving this, and I'm sitting here, my hand would reach here easier. I like the cars that have the cup holders, stacked 1, 2, because then passenger gets one, driver gets one. Versus here where it's like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. So I just want to go over my experience with this thing at an Electrify America last month. So this Electrify America works fine. The people who were there before me were, charging other ID.4s just fine in it. And I pull up to the Electrify America, I plug it in, and it refuses to start charging. And I tried this for a good 10 to 15 minutes before I realized I couldn't use the Electrify America app. I couldn't even use the automatic activate feature that the car has to charge it. I had to tap a card to pay for the electric manually. This thing's supposed to come with 500 kilowatt hours of included charging with Electrify America. I couldn't use that. It would let me activate the station with tap to pay, but not with my account, so I couldn't use that charging plan. This makes no sense to me. This is annoying, and I honestly feel like this is kind of fraudulent, because why advertise 500 kilowatt hours of included charging if I'm not able to use it? I don't know if this has been fixed. I haven't even gone near Electrify America since then, because I haven't been driving this as much as I was back then, but that was just a really big annoyance. I tried this for like 15 minutes before I just gave up. So that was my experience with the ID.4 after 2,500 miles. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.